At dawn, a sealed message from Washington lands on the table in Ouagadougou. The order is blunt: 48 hours to hand over 60% of Burkina Faso's gold and oil reserves or lose dollar access and face clawbacks. No meetings, no negotiations, no appeal. By nightfall, President Ibrahim Traoré answers with his own ultimatum: 72 hours for foreign operators to sign and operate under Burkina Faso's national terms, or the pipelines, fields, and permits shut down without exceptions. Two clocks start ticking in parallel. Banks probe test transfers while trucks idle at checkpoints. Lawyers draft exit plans. Security briefings move into locked rooms. The standoff is not theater, it is a collision between leverage and law, between a 48-hour demand and a 72-hour counterorder. Both live, both binding, both costly. The opening hours unfold in silence, but the question hovers over every desk in the capital: which clock will prevail, the one set abroad or the one enforced at home? Hour 1 begins with tension across the mining corridors. Behind the scenes, Washington's demand looks like a hammer, but Traoré's order is not improvised. For months, Burkina Faso had already rolled back foreign military privileges, shifted alliances into the Sahel bloc with Mali and Niger, tightened mining oversight, revoked non-compliant permits, and moved priority assets under state control. Export oversight had been centralized, and site security along with IT access was already brought under national authority. These weren't just ideas, they were switches already flipped, and when the 48-hour demand arrived, the 72-hour response was activated instantly. The machinery for enforcement already existed, and now the state's chain of command was being tested in real time. Hour 6 to hour 20 mark the first hard moves. Ibrahim Traoré does not deliver a speech. He signs and stamps directives: freeze exports, audit every mine, replace foreign security, seize control of IT systems, and move operational data into secure national nodes. Courier teams carry sealed packets to corporate headquarters. Phones ring across Ouagadougou as operators read lines they cannot negotiate. At one site, an IT manager refuses to surrender server keys until a state officer drops a suspension notice on the desk. Credentials change hands and data begins to flow. At another site, drones sweep the perimeter, logging stockpiles from the air. Trucks are halted until manifests are rewritten in the new national format. By dusk, a convoy tries to push through a checkpoint. Papers do not align. The convoy is stopped cold, turned back under armed escort. By midday the next day, compliance reports stream into the capital. 2 foreign operators have signed. One hesitates, and one threatens to pull out entirely. Burkina Faso makes clear it is not seizing equipment or blocking safe work, but the law is changing now, not later. The order is no longer an abstract policy. It is felt in markets, bus stops, and courtyards, repeated over radios every hour. The 72-hour order begins to look less like a gamble and more like a living reality. Resistance comes not just in paperwork but in sabotage. By nightfall, a fire flares at a fuel depot. Investigators confirm arson. Ministries suspend 2 officials after suspicious transfers trace back to the foreign demand. Convoys stall at checkpoints, caught between old contracts and the new national law. The early hours are chaos, but resilience spreads. Miners guard stockpiles overnight. Village elders open community radios for direct alerts. Young engineers modify off-the-shelf drones into a surveillance net. It is rough but effective. The warning grid tightens, and gaps close almost as fast as they open. The control room in Ouagadougou lights up with green markers for compliance, yellow for review, and red for resistance. Slowly, the red patches shrink, but tension rises as the second clock, the 48-hour deadline, ticks closer. Hour 30 through hour 45 mark the midpoint of the confrontation. In the control room, 2 countdown clocks hang on the wall. One for Washington's 48-hour demand, the other for Traoré's 72-hour order. Operators file updates. 2 more companies sign. One mid-tier producer requests arbitration. Another halts operations, betting that the U.S. ultimatum will break the state before the 72 hours expire. Compliance grows, but not fast enough. Then at hour 32, test transfers routed through New York are blocked. The first visible strike of Washington's ultimatum arrives, not as words but as machinery. Payment systems begin freezing. No trucks move, no exports clear, no revenue enters. Quiet panic spreads through ministries as the foreign clock proves real. This was the strike point the ultimatum was designed for. Ibrahim Traoré does not fold. He activates backup settlement routes through Sahel banks, regional currency swaps, and gold for supply barter. It is raw and clumsy, but it keeps oxygen flowing. Still, everyone in the control room understands the stakes. If the 48-hour cutoff holds, the 72-hour order could collapse under its own weight. Hour 45 arrives, and radios blast competing stories. Foreign outlets declare Burkina Faso isolated, while national broadcasts insist the transition is on track. Shopkeepers count smaller stacks of cash. Truckers idle. Miners wait for wages. In the compound, advisors report blocked payments confirmed, foreign operators pulling out, and sabotage attempts under investigation. Yet domestic banks keep processing trades, Sahel partners clear gold swaps, and villages guard depots. The balance is fragile, but survival continues. Hour 47 looms, and analysts predict collapse within minutes as Washington's cutoff reaches its peak. Then a courier delivers unexpected news. The People's Resource Fund receives its first direct gold deposit, bypassing blocked wires. A cheer erupts. Not salvation, but survival. For the first time, the foreign clock and the domestic clock collide with equal weight. Hour 50 through hour 57 show the fight becoming visible on the street. The 48-hour cutoff bites deep. Banks confirm frozen transfers. Wire systems stall. A foreign consortium suspends operations until international channels reopen. Food prices rise, fuel lines grow, and markets tighten. Headlines abroad call it collapse. Yet in the control room, Traoré refuses to bow. He orders emergency stipends released from the resource fund, paying miners not in blocked dollars, but in gold-backed credits that circulate locally. Foreign media mock it as primitive, but in the mining towns, workers call it survival. In Kaya, a miner holds his slip and says at least wages still arrive. Villagers cheer when grain convoys rerouted through Sahel partners reach markets. Every hour past the 48-hour cutoff is survival on borrowed time, but each one strengthens the idea that the 72-hour order is not defiance but a foundation. Sabotage attempts continue, investigators tracing trails to contractors linked with foreign consortiums. A sabotage team is caught trying to disable a power substation. Their arrest is broadcast, spreading the message that subversion is not invisible but punishable. Applause in the streets is cautious, but it reinforces resolve. Inside the control room, advisors debate whether to extend relief to operators resisting compliance. Traoré cuts the discussion short. This is a sovereignty test. If they cannot operate under our law, they will not operate here. His words air that night and spread across tea shops and courtyards. By hour 57, the standoff is raw, with sabotage whispers still hanging in the air. Two clocks remain alive, locked in collision, pressing the same national question. When hour 72 arrives, will Burkina Faso stand taller, or will 48 hours of external pressure finally break the system?